Yeah, what a weekend. We're here all the way until 9:30 to try and sift through the wreckage of a tumultuous evening in Croke Park, and we're all looking forward to it happening again in 2 weeks' time on Saturday evening, the 14th of September. Saturday night under lights, that's how All-Ireland final should be played. Anthony Moyles, how are you?
Morning, Ger.
Tommy, how are you?
Ger, Anthony, what's the crack?
Well, that was good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was about as good as it could get.
That was exciting.
Yeah, it was absolutely savage, I have to say. It was unbelievable. Right from the get-go, you know, there was a great atmosphere in there. The pitch had this kind of funky, kind of tartan, kind of print kind of look on it. And, you know, everyone was like, oh, okay. I was trying to work out how exactly he did it. I was kind of saying to myself, I must try that in the old back garden someday.
Yeah.
It looked a lot better behind the goals than it did front on in the camera.
Yeah, it probably did. And you know what actually helped the atmosphere as well, because usually there's a really long delay, and they obviously do the presentation to the well, it would have been the 94 team yesterday, but because the minor went into the extra time, it was all kind of quick. The Cork miners were going around. I felt sorry for them because they were celebrating, doing their lap of honour, and they were literally like, Cluxton was getting shots fired at him, and there was Cork lads like running through, and he was like this, you know, kind of having to wait for them, and you know, and then they were literally going around the outside of the warm-ups, and the warm-ups were absolutely identical.
Were they?
Oh, it was so strange.
Right.
I mentioned it to Phil. Phil was sitting beside me, and I said, so I was watching, because obviously I wanted to kind of see if they do anything different and you might use, but it was pretty much exactly the same. There was the bit of kicking, then there was a kind of a shooting drill, then it was nearly synchronized. Like both teams actually broke and went into their separate things, which were practically identical at the same time.
I remember watching Kildare Dublin a few years ago in Leinster, and I thought the Kildare selectors were actually looking at the Dublin warm-up going, there's something we can take from this, because there was some difference. There was such a difference in it.
Well, this was practically identical. Like even down to the time frame it took each thing.
Dublin haven't really started Ireland finals very well in the 5 in a row. They've been slow, but they started really well.
16 seconds.
Up and running, everybody looks sharp, everybody looks confident, and they get 5 points up and the sending off happens. But a lot of stuff has already happened that leads to the sending off to get to a point where you're wondering, I'm not really sure about this Dublin team today. I don't think that they're as imperious as we've been led to believe. And why the hell didn't he move Johnny Cooper off the dangerous threat that David Clifford had been posing him? Like, it was an existential threat from the first ball that went in.
Never mind the penalty, never mind the 3 wides from Clifford. After that first yellow card, why isn't he moving Johnny Cooper?
Yeah, well, after the first yellow, you have to be saying to yourself, okay, you know, they're going to target him, and not even that to say, like, if he was playing out around the middle, you're saying, okay, we can kind of cover him, you know, he can just keep his hands down, nothing rash. But when you're in the full back line, marking a fella who's 6'3" or 6'4", he's a good 4, 5, 6 inches bigger than you. Well, like, okay, let's give him 6'4". You always have to bump that up, Tommy. You know that yourself. But the panic, like the penalty was kind of symptomatic of Johnny Cooper has been there all week. He knows he's marking Clifford. He's going to bed at night. He's thinking about, do I mark him from in front? Do I mark him from behind? He's thinking about him all the time. And Kerry or Dublin will have prepared for this in the sense of, you know, you have to get physical with him. You have to kind of be there for him. So straight away as that ball comes in, the first thing in his head is, I have to get it. Where is he? And I have to grab him. And actually, that's essentially what he does. He just goes to grab him instead of going, actually, there's the ball. And
Cluxton has a perfect view of it.
Yeah.
Cluxton is going to come and is going to punch that away, or it's going to be fine.
Do you know what else is a perfect view? David Goff, there's a shot from behind Goff's shoulder of the penalty, and it's the most obvious penalty in the world.
Not a doubt. Like, it was nailed on.
Perfectly weighted ball by Gainey, and as the ball is in the air, Cooper is like this, dragging him back.
He just lost it for that moment, because, you know, if you, like, put it this way, if he was, and no disrespect to, but if it was another full forward, right, that was, you know, not
Brand.
This man.
Not a superstar.
Yeah, he would have kind of went, actually, I'll just, like, even if he catches it, I'll catch him, I'll get him when he comes down.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go for the ball here, or whatever it is. But he just panicked. And that was, it was building up to that moment, because there was a fair bit going on off the ball between the two of them. Cooper,
really,
Cooper was trying to get into him, but Clifford, to be fair, was like standing over him. Each of the Kerry forwards were like that. Like, O'Shea was giving McCarthy plenty of it as well.
O'Shea's well fit to do that.
Yeah, he was giving McCarthy plenty of it. I saw that in the semi-final with Hart. Like, he stopped Petey Hart coming out of the defence loads of times. But so You know, it was a strange one by Gavin. Like, I mean, the first thing you would do, because actually when Tom O'Sullivan got do you remember the drag? I thought he dragged him around the neck.
Yeah, it looked like a straight black card straight away,
Yeah.
and then it's still a yellow, I think.
And, did you think so? I saw it last night. I thought it was okay. I thought he catches him here, and I thought, to be honest with you, the Dublin guy knows it's O'Sullivan. He's on a yellow. I'm going down pretty soon.
I didn't think it was a yellow card. Not in the way Goff had refereed the game so far.
I think, like, what is then not a yellow card about stopping somebody like with an illegal challenge? Because it's not legal, right?
Yeah, well,
it's not a shoulder challenge.
It wasn't that bad.
His arm is out.
I thought it was a tick. I thought he kind of got him here, and once he felt the pull on the shoulder, he just went down. Like initially, I thought he kind of hooked him around the neck, and I said, I said he's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone. He has to go on that, because especially.
Did he even get a tick?
He got a tick.
He got a tick. Yeah.
Because all the Dublin players were around him saying, "Look, Tom O'Sullivan's on a yellow card here."
Yeah.
And I don't think that helped him either, because Goff was 2 yards away from it. He saw.
Yeah. I was disappointed with Stephen O'Brien. Like, Small was on a yellow. I'm not, by the way, this is not about getting fellas saying that, but obviously everything has gone down, which we know about analysis and that players know now. They're like, you know, Gilroy's on a yellow. So the first thing is, and Stephen O'Brien, funnily, a lot of the time he was making his runs, as Goff was tracking down the pitch, O'Brien would come across Goff's eye line with Small.
To try,
and so the time he actually got booked, he literally ran in front of Goff. The ball was over on the Cusack stand side. He ran in front of Goff, and then Goff saw it and blew it up and pulled it back and gave Small the yellow. Yeah. But he never really got on. And fair play to Small, and that would have been his third All-Ireland final in a row.
Put off.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, to be fair to him, he actually marked, because O'Brien was. It's funny, people are saying about, Dublin will win the second one handy. I'm kind of going, those Kerry forwards didn't really fire yesterday.
That's not the case to be made. The case to be made is that Kerry's improvement from the first half of the semi-final to the second half of the semi-final to yesterday is game on game. It's like every minute they play in Croke Park, they gain in strength. They're like a 2-year-old horse race, 2-year-old horse who's racing over the summer lightly, and then all of a sudden, come the autumn time, it's like, we've got one of the best horses we've ever seen here.
Yeah.
I was looking at it yesterday, and a lot of Dublin's wides, I don't know whether it's because of they were down to one man less, but they were taking shots uncharacteristically from outside their shooting zone.
Yeah.
9 shots I counted up that were from either, Rock taking a free from the right side, there should be a left-footed free, Mannion skying a couple of efforts, in injury time, Connolly and Paddy Small missed chances. Kerry left 3-6 behind them. Paul Murphy's rocket, he made it himself. Gainey's shot was cleared off the line for goal. Kennelly was probably poor. Clifford left 3 or 4 points behind them. Tommy Walsh had an effort in the first half, or in the second half, he just come on.
Yeah.
That was poor.
Poor wide.
Yeah, Sean O'Shea was the only one who really delivered. Like, Paul Gainey didn't even score yesterday.
Yeah, which
Gainey
is
didn't score.
Like, the All-Ireland finals and big games like that would always kind of take a bit of it'll take a shape of its own. But when Kerry looked back, I think about maybe 31 minutes in, I remember looking down and they had got 5 from 14 chances. Now, talk about efficiency levels. They were rattling out about 67, 68%, I think, efficiency level. Like, that's way down. That's way down for them. And it wasn't even like the Clifford chances where Cooper was right on his boot. No. Twice he really snapped. Like, he got the ball turned and snapped at it really, really quickly. Instead of actually saying to himself, and which he'll learn the next day, to say, listen, you get that ball, you just get down and just go at him.
Well, then he did kick a beautiful one from...
He did.
Like, the far touchline.
In the second half?
In the first half. His first point was like, all right, okay.
Yeah, it was a little...
It's not going to be one of those days for him.
The one before that was probably the most disappointing, where he actually had got away and he had it on his right foot, on the right side, and he just kind of curled it wide on the left side.
The score he got in the 49th minute, Jack McCaffrey had just kicked, like, that 5-10 minute spell from Jack McCaffrey when he kicked those points and fisted the other one. Jack McCaffrey had just put them 5 points up.
Yeah.
Ryan puts the ball out to midfield, Moran makes a huge catch, sends it into Clifford, and Fitzsimons looks like he got him held up.
Yeah.
And somehow he manoeuvres a yard, and he puts that over the bar.
I'd say he takes Fitzsimons on 3 times.
Yeah. Can't get around.
I was kind of going, where's the Dublin cover to get him? I'd say they thought, no, he's going to just lay this at me. Because everyone else thought, okay, he's done it at least 3 times, he's just going to give it, and then he goes, no, and he sticks it onto his left. And I'd say Fitzsimons was like, how do I stop this?
I think if you're Fitzsimons, you accept it. Like, so next game out, right, I'm putting Fitzsimons on him from the get-go.
Best man, Mark.
And I'm saying, keep him to 4 or 5 points, make sure he doesn't create any goal chances, and make sure he doesn't get any goals. And if he gets 4 or 5 points in play, we're going to accept that as a team. We're going to try and not give away the stupid fouls that we gave away that allowed Sean O'Shea to kick points. And other than that, we hope that we're going to do a better job at midfield so that the supply line is not as good. Like,
yeah, like you're going, they're fouling. Like O'Shea is he's unerringly accurate. Like he's just unbelievable from both sides.
For such a young footballer to be at this level.
21.
And also, you're kind of looking at him and going, it's not just creeping in. It's kind of like bing, bing, bing. It's black spot.
But even his points from play.
Time.
They were clutch points.
Yeah, they were. Well, actually, he kicked a free around, I think it was around 28, 29. It was probably during that spell you're talking about where Dublin looked like they were just about to stick it into fifth and go. And he kicked a free. They got a free well out in the Cusick stand side, and he put it down and stuck it over. And I remember remarking to myself, said, this is kind of an important free. He needs to get this. Because if they don't get this, Dublin had got a few scores before, and it would have been like, because
weakness there then.
But he nailed it. And like, I mean, that is an amazing thing to know, that if we win a free, don't worry, that's a score. And also, the big thing was, both from the penalty and I can't remember, he nailed both 45s.
Yeah.
So he came away with something.
Yeah.
You know?
It was the penalty and it was Paul Murphy's goal chance.
Correct.
So Murphy's goal chance comes off the crossbar, Gainey gets it, and it gets blocked out for 45.
Exactly.
That's two scores. That's 2 points instead of 0.
Yeah, massive. Look, it's because all the debate obviously will be, Dublin won't play, and that's the typical thing that will be thrown back out there.
When have they played really well in the All-Ireland final over the last while?
The replay in 2016. They played well that day, did they?
Yeah, I suppose that's Holmes Kennelly.
Yeah, Holmes Kennelly. Well, no, I suppose it was only a point in that one, wasn't it?
Is there not? Do they not win?
Tyrone after 15
that's
minutes.
not Holmes and Kennelly. That's Rochford's first year, isn't it?
16.
Yeah.
Right, the Holmes Kennelly was a replay semi-final, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, put it this way, like if you're looking at the bench, okay, and impact from the bench, so Merchant was brought on yesterday. So you're looking from let's look from a defensive point of view.
Exactly, because they were in defensive crisis yesterday. It's fair to say that Clifford and O'Shea had them in defensive crisis. They looked to the bench, and what did they see?
And then Tommy Walsh comes on, and there's no one to deal with him. There's nobody to deal with Tommy Walsh.
No, but they put McCarthy straight back in on him. But McCarthy, I'd say, was saying to me, seriously, after handling O'Shea for the first 40 odd minutes, and now I have to go in on this lad.
Yeah.
And what happens is, of course, you're moving, you're trying to put out fires in and those fires weren't really flaming yesterday. Like, what happens if those fires really start? Like, the one thing the Kerry guys actually yesterday, they didn't play as a unit. They didn't flick the ball around much themselves as a forward unit. You know the way usually they're looking and they're pinging passes and they're moving that. They did it well enough, but not to the level they usually can.
It will improve.
It will improve. I think he looks at the bench and he's Keane O'Sullivan, he had Philly McMahon, and I think he had Daly and he had Merchant.
Yeah.
Daly came back into the panel yesterday after probably, I think, a long time. I don't think he's been in that 26 for a while. And I'd say he kind of goes to himself, okay, first of all, I need speed. So who's standing up there really?
Yeah.
The only one is Merchant. But what I gain in speed, I lose in height and physicality.
Yeah.
So
you can put Merchant on Stephen O'Brien the next day. I think he's played himself into the team.
Could do. Who are you taking out?
Well, I'm probably making a lot of changes.
So you're moving small.
I'm doing Brian Cody job on this, and I'm going, sorry lads, we're making a significant number of changes there. I'm also moving James McCarthy into midfield / further forward, and Scully. I'm taking Scully out of that team because I think he had one of his worst games, and I don't know why he was
non-existent.
Yes. They took Howard off. I think they punishment substituted Howard for the
shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
He had spent himself, I think.
He had not spent himself. He was still dribbling the ball into traffic with this amazing pirouette control, ballerina style.
He's a superstar, that lad.
That was like.
He did that about 4 times in like a 20-second spell.
Yeah.
In the second half.
Turn and dip.
There was 3 of them around him. Cluxton kicked the ball to him, and you're like, oh Jesus, this is going to be a goal.
He was the only man standing up for Dublin as well. When Cluxton needed to go over the press.
Absolutely. Well, and actually, funnily, we can talk about it later on. He was the go-to man on that press. They stuck him out on the right wing, and it was like, it's coming to you. You just got to get it.
Yeah.
And of course, he got the one for the goal.
And he made one too.
Unbelievable catch.
Rock was there for one. Rock made a great catch as well.
Rock did make
that
a great
Rock catch. I didn't know he could do that. I was like, what? That was incredible.
Yeah.
Just to go back, so I would stick Scully's out. I'm putting Keane O'Sullivan in the team as a sweeper to stand in front of Fitzsimons.
Clifford, yeah.
Who's marking Clifford. And I'm probably putting Philly on Gainey, because I think that there might be like an aggressive, we're going to be able to go forward with this. And I'm recasting that defence and I'm saying, you guys, you've been through this before.
So who's gone?
Who was
We
gone?
only have one gone. Scully's
Cooper.
gone.
Cooper's gone.
You're dropping Cooper, yeah?
I am. I'm like, look, what have you done for me lately, Johnny?
I have a feeling.
Only as
right?
good as your last red card.
And it might be dangerous to doubt lads like Philly Mahan and Bernard Brogan and Kevin McMiniman and Paddy Andrews, but they're not where they were 2 years ago. They're not where they were last year.
I thought McManaman did well when he came on. He stole a couple of balls, basketball style, which I hadn't seen. Like
Conley made 2 turnovers.
Yeah,
Well, so did McManaman, to be fair. McManaman, they turned. I was disappointed. We can talk again. That last 7. Actually, there was a 10-minute spell, so there was 7 minutes extra time. There's about 2 or 3 minutes beforehand, and once Kerry got the lead, I don't know if you remember, but they won a kick out, and instead of driving forward, they came back. And I remember thinking, "Oh, that's way too early for that." Like, I mean, that's way too early. There was 8-9 minutes to go. They had a man up the sideline. No,
especially because every time they went forward, they were causing consternation for the Dublin defence.
Correct.
Dublin were so stretched because they'd had to push up. They were like, they'd left nothing back. Everybody was man on man.
Well, Kerry actually had an extra man. So at one stage, I remember, I think it was just before the one where Moran gets caught in possession, and I took a look up the field, and Gainey was, so there was 3 Dublin defenders and 4 Kerry forwards. And I was going, just kick it forward, kick it forward, get it up into space.
Big minimum tracking him and Davy Byrne.
Correct. And actually disappointing from the Kerry substitutions, especially the ones that came out around the middle, that they didn't recognise like Lynn, and we got to break this line, because it literally was, when you looked at it, there was a massive press at around midfield, and there was a load of bodies between midfield and say the 45.
And nothing back. Yeah.
Nothing behind it.
And Spillane, the sub, who should have been starting.
Killian.
Yeah. He was brilliant.
But he needs something off the bench.
But every time, irrespective of whether or not the decision, like, get in the ball.
I know.
He's got such pace at that stage.
Tommy Welsh.
Everybody's absolutely exhausted.
Tommy.
Yeah, no, he took his goal, and actually he showed his intent right from the first ball, if you remember, because he goes at, now he ended up taking McCaffrey and someone else on, he got turned over at the end line, but it still showed, you know what, I want to do this, I'm actually here, I'm not just here to kind of flute around.
You do need that. Like, I do understand.
Absolutely.
There was a lot of talk about Tommy Welsh starting for the game, and when they're in the walk around the parade, I was like, you know what? They're going to need him in this game. They're going to need him with 25 minutes to go.
It's funny, I looked at, looking at the Kerry thing, he's saying, right, okay, it didn't really go for Gavin White and didn't go for O'Bugly, but then you go, but actually, hold on, O'Bugly was marking Scully, and Scully hardly touched the ball.
Yeah.
So is O'Bugly one of these guys that when you actually sit down and you analyse the video, you go, yeah, did my job for me? Because I'd say if he touched the ball twice, like, honestly, I was kind of going, like, he just was hardly even seen out there.
Yeah.
But he's one of those efficient little players that just does his job. Because Scully, as you say, Scully was extremely poor yesterday. Never kind of did his transition stuff that he did.
No.
Never got on the ball, never threatened. He's usually always in the end of something.
He had one run where he was actually alone inside, and no one even looked up to pick him up. And I was like, oh, there's Scully making that far post run. But he
got badly caught in possession as well in the first half, didn't he? Where he was kind of really slowly, and they came up and they trapped him from behind. They got the ball away from him. Howard I thought was unbelievable.
Fenton was anonymous. I know you're going to come back to it later. I know you're going to talk about Kerry's midfield and maybe Adrian Spillane and Jack Barry making an impact there, but Fenton was anonymous.
Yeah, he had 3 markers, essentially.
Yeah.
Which is tough, because what happened was when Moran was deployed on him, but then when as soon as Kerry got the ball, Moran went for the ball, and what they did was, if Fenton didn't directly go at him, they tagged Fenton. So either Spillane or Barry then moved up on towards Fenton and said, well, I'm going to mark you now, and let him go off and do whatever. And then if there was a score or a wide, Moran would either drift back or Barry would stay in. So he got different looks all day.
Yeah. I'm going to start this morning with the player ratings in the Irish Times. So I'm going to give you one of these, Ina Reardon, and that's the Dubs.
You love these, yeah.
Number 3, Johnny Cooper, 2.
Oh.
2. His reputation as Dublin's best defender severely damaged. Foul David Clifford for the first half penalty. 2 more fouls on the same player, ending his game just before half time. Will want to make amends in the replay. I mean, it's hard to argue, but 2 is like when you see it written down. He didn't play well. The Mirror gave him 2 as well.
It was a tough day for him, there's no doubt about it. I don't know, I mean, a lot will tell over the next 2 weeks how he bounces back in training. Will he want to make amends?
So you can't put him on Clifford again, though, can you?
No, you can't put him on Clifford again. I don't think so. Because I just think it's a matchup that I think it is better suited to either McCarthy or Fitzsimons. So you just even from the matchup, you're kind of saying to yourself, no. And then I think psychologically, then there is something in his head. Cooper plays the game on the edge. You know, he is that type of player, and he also likes to get away from you and run up the field. You know, set things up.
Yeah.
So I think as a man marking job as the last line of defence, that's where Kerry want him. So no, if he plays, I don't think he goes on him.
That's the great picture of the save from Cluxton. Cluxton was definitely in the shout of being man of the match as well. I'm not sure their kick-out strategy worked either, but there were a couple of times where he did manage to kick it over the press, and it was just sensational. It was like, there's a couple of inches that you need to make it the best kick out of all time versus suddenly you're in trouble.
In big trouble. It's amazing the way he does it. Like, you know, not only for the goal, McCaffrey's goal, but he did one prior to that where literally it was just going over the fingertips of the Kerry guys and just into the lap of, I can't remember which Dublin player, and you're kind of saying, Jesus, like, he just gets it out. It's even the speed that not only gets out the ball, but he just takes the 2 steps back. And he gets such distance with the 2 steps. But his save as well from Murphy was a fantastic save. Like, he touched that, got it onto the crossbar.
Yeah. It's to the back page of the Star this morning. They're talking about Brawley. Draw deal. Sunday game row sees Joe Brawley claim referee was influenced by the propaganda. Joe Brawley reckons Kerry's pre-All-Ireland final propaganda war paid dividends. Where are the quotes here? This is a scandal. It's not a penalty in a million years. The penalty was never a penalty. The referee must have been clearly influenced by the propaganda that was coming from Kerry. I mean, I'm so surprised because David is so clear-minded. He said he thought it was a free out, the second yellow. That actually...
No, it's definitely not a free out.
Johnny Cooper was being fouled by David Clifford. That bit where Clifford's arm was obviously being grasped by Johnny Cooper. You know, Clifford was doing that on purpose.
He was pushing his hand into his arm into his hand, saying, "I have you now." No, like, I mean, unless he saw something that happened like about 10 seconds prior to it, maybe where Clifford pulled him back. But the thing about it is we all know, like, as a defender, you know, the forward pulls you back. And then you grab him, and the referee turns and sees you doing it, and you get the yellow, and you're kind of saying, well, he pulled me first. It's like, well, that's what I didn't see. So, like, I mean, I don't know what he's seeing there. For me, it was a situation where he was under massive pressure, Cooper. He was fouling their marquee man. There was a lot of space in front of him, especially for the penalty, and he needed a bailout plan. He needed someone to get him out of there.
Yeah.
Like, Gavin should have seen this and said, listen, he's under pressure for 10 minutes. We've got to move him. Now, they kind of put Fitzsimons on for literally 30 seconds and then he moved back off. They had to say, listen, get him out of there, put him out to 6, put McCarthy back in for a while. And we'll even share the yellow cards around if you want.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, let's not do this.
Let everybody have a go.
Yeah.
Like, and that would have been... It's funny that it's mad they didn't do that. It is kind of unusual that this high-powered, greatest managerial team of all time didn't do that. They chose not to.
Well, it's quite obvious from where we were. You know, when you have that bird's eye view, and obviously up in the press box there, you're up on the 6th floor, whatever it is, you can really see it well. And they were isolating him on a number of times. Now, they have to have eyes in the stand, and you have to say, listen, you got to get him out of here, because he looked flustered.
Yeah.
Cooper. He looked like a fella who was saying to himself, I don't really know how to play this guy. And as I said to you, when you're thinking of this all week, it's building up, it's tension in you, it's apprehension, and you're kind of saying, you know, and the penalty was a pure case of that. It was just a grab. You know, it wasn't I'm in a calm situation here, I can control this. And it happens. I remember in 07 against Kerry, same thing happening, where I gave a penalty away against Gooch because, you know, the ball came in, it bounced off my chest, and as I went for it, and I kind of tangled his leg, you know. Now I pulled him, but it was a slight pull, but it was enough of, I have to stop him.
Yeah.
You know, instead of actually saying, I could get across to this.
Yeah.
So there's just that build-up. You're thinking about it all
Slight pull,
week.
but, you know.
Yeah, but it's enough.
The referee sees it and they go,
gone.
Yeah, no
so,
choice.
like, I mean, I think for him...
Didn't Gooch dive, though? Wasn't that your abiding memory of that?
Yeah,
Isn't that what happened?
well, listen, we won't go there yet. I'm sure Kerry people are sore enough this morning. But I think, does he play the next day? I think he has to play the next day, Ger. Honestly, I think Cooper has to. I don't think they have enough support in the back line.
Because the lads don't have pace. Skinner Sullivan doesn't have enough pace to play in that game because...
Like, you're saying that O'Sullivan is going to go as the sweeper. If I'm Kerry, I'm saying I'm putting someone up on O'Sullivan. I'm not going to let him be a
Well, it's funny. Why didn't they push an extra man forward at the start of the second half and just try and blitz Dublin at that point?
I don't know. They missed that.
Like,
yeah. Well, by the way,
of intent, because what happens is Dublin have to drop somebody back then, and suddenly you've got 6 forwards, and you also already have an extra.
Yeah, I never agreed. They had Murphy. Murphy seemed to be the extra man for a lot of it, and he was getting caught in between this, 45-metre line to 21-metre line, being the extra man, but not actually being anything. Like 2 balls went down to Mannion, and he was there in the central position trying to get across, and Mannion had the shots away before he even got there. I completely agree with you. I can't, like, a team that plays, unless you're 7 or 8 points up and you want to put an extra man in there, fine. But if you're in chasing the game and you're in the mix, you have to squeeze up, put a man right up there and actually say, well, we're going to play with 7 forwards here.
Yeah. I mean, I know the whole point is to try and create space and leave space for your forwards to run into, but like...
But you can still create it when you've men up there.
Exactly, and it's just a statement of intent, and it suddenly makes Dublin make changes.
Yeah.
It makes you be the aggressor as opposed to, well, we're just going to...
Well, the thing about the extra man always is that the team who lose it dictate. So what essentially is, people think, oh, you have the power now because you have the extra man, when it's actually the opposition have it. And essentially Dublin grasped that power, and Kerry let them have it, because Kerry said, okay, well, you dictate who it is and we'll try and manoeuvre around that, which they didn't do very well at all.
You feel like if Kerry had been in front for a little bit longer, if they'd just been able to deal with the whole notion of what was happening, if they'd given themselves a lead by the 50th minute as opposed to the 67th minute, then they would have had a few minutes to work out, okay, hang on a second now, let's just, everybody calm down, and they wouldn't have tried to play keep ball for the 9 minutes.
Well, yeah, possibly, but I'm just, as much as we say about Gavin Mig, I think the Kerry management team had the whole of half time to work out that extra man. It wasn't like it happened in the 45th minute.
Yeah.
So they should have got to grips at it a lot earlier.
Yeah, they should have predicted as well that there was going to be a man sent off. Gavin's gripes, referees, they probably did. Referees' calls went against us. Really say that though, is it? Is this, his team didn't get the rub of the green. We didn't get the rub of the green in that regard, but that happens in games. Some days you get those calls and some days you don't. That's the way it is. We'll dust ourselves down and prepare as best we can for another game. So he's not really
No, I don't think he really said it, no.
He's not, like... There were a couple of incidents in the second half and calls went against. There was... Look, I think Kerry could have had a penalty. Stephen O'Brien got taken down in the second half. I didn't see a replay of that. Just want to briefly mention the replays. Fair play. The majority of replays got shown to the crowd this time.
Yeah.
Which is a vast improvement on the hurling final.
Absolutely.
There were still some where you were like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
And the world didn't end.
No,
there wasn't a massive row.
Yeah, no. And people weren't, their sensitivities weren't that much abused because of seeing a tackle, where you have to try and work it out. I think, I don't know, I think Goff had a good game. I think Goff had a good game. Yeah, I don't truck with this propaganda stuff and he was influenced.
No, it's nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
I mean, someone actually mentioned to me, I think Johnny Cooper is a work colleague of his at DCU.
Right, okay.
That was a big enough call. Hey, how's your Monday morning going? So I have the Mirror Sport, and it's Jim. We blew it this time. Gavin admits Stubbs didn't deserve to win, but he's delighted to get a second shot at it. Also, there's the Kane who's saying, I'm no diver, in the 2-2 draw with Arsenal.
The Irish Independent, it's a great photograph, the full back page. It is Dean Rock, cracks. Oh, that's the Examiner, wrong one there. So, but it's the same picture as well. The Examiner cover there is drawing breath. Dubs and Kerry must go after pulsating final, and that's a full colour picture of Dean Rock, and there's the same photograph.
Great photo.
Yeah.
Very difficult kick.
It is.
77, 78 minutes, because to be fair to him, and I know Tommy referenced it there, Dublin prior to that had taken a few rash shots. Now, Connolly, I know, he did one of his outside of the right boot. He was kind of hanging out around the 50 looking for that ball, and when he got it, he pinged it. Now, it was just wide. I think it was Howard's one that went to Hawkeye. But Rock...
Costello's went to Hawkeye. Howard's went wide as well.
But Rock... Like, once they got it to him, it was like, yeah, he's going to nail this for the equalising point. So it was a difficult kick for him. Went wide, obviously, on the near side.
Yeah, but eight minutes of the allotted 7 are up by the time he actually takes the kick. So he knows at that stage it is the last kick of the game. Like, in retrospect, do you drop it in?
No, you have to go for it.
Like,
yeah, just go for it.
Or do you try and play it off to a runner?
Played off the runner, all of a sudden you'd lose it, and Kerry get one more chance to go up the field.
Maybe, fair enough. So it's like it's a shot to nothing. I'd say he'll regret not scoring it. Like, he had a brilliant game, so he can't be too hard on himself. Kicks 10 points in the All-Ireland final, fetches a ball. Like, it's he does stuff from play at a level that he's not supposed to do, because he's, generally over the last couple of years, he's just a free taker, but actually he isn't.
I thought yesterday he really, really led the line for Dublin well yesterday. He kind of, not that he came of age, but, he exactly as you say, he's a guy who's just meant to be a +1. He gets the frees for us. Yeah. But he actually really contributed yesterday. The kick out that you're referencing, that was when they were under serious amount of pressure. They could not get out of their own. They were really struggling with the kick outs. Kerry had a massive press on them, and he came all the way down from the top right corner to come and actually grab that ball. He went down to Cluxton's left and came all the way and went up over 2 or 3 lads on a serious fetch.
Brian Dillon says, lads, the Kerry keeper stops at Dublin point going over the bar. Spillane goes down and scores Kerry's goal. A 4-point swing straight away. If that ball goes over, Dublin would have seen the game out. I did wonder if we were going to have a bzz. Oh, that was actually a point, which would have been
that would have been
scraping off that Kerry goal.
When you were at that, I was actually thinking to myself, with the Hawkeye one, you're going, is technology the only thing that can stop Dublin's drive for 5?
I wonder if that, because that one looked like it kind of hits the inside of the thing, but it still touches it. Like, it's
I was kind of going, how did they get that route so wrong?
If the posts are a bit higher, does that actually just hit the post and drop? Oh, anyway.
Yeah, possibly. I thought in real time when I watched it, I thought he had his hands well out past the crossbar. It wasn't like he was backing back in.
Yeah. That wouldn't still fill you with confidence in some of the hurling decisions.
No.
Mark O'Callaghan says Rock should never have taken that last free kick. His legs were gone. I mean, do you hand it over to?
Who you hand it to? Costello?
Maybe. I think that, given that he's done exactly the same thing, kicked that winning free at that stage of a game in an All-Ireland final recently, it's fair enough to leave Dean Rock on with frees.
You give it to Costello, people say, why didn't Dean Rock kick it?
Yeah.
So
we didn't have our best afternoon, but the drive is still very much alive, from Carl Daly. Dublin didn't play well and yet managed to get a draw. They've seen Kerry up close and will come up with a plan, and like all the great teams, they'll find a way.
But I didn't think Dublin needed a plan. I thought Kerry needed a plan.
Yeah.
It's going to give. I was chatting to Michael Foley yesterday, and he was just making the point that Kerry will go, as soon as they go into that dressing room, they'll be just saying to each other, now you see, lads, are we 6-1 the next day?
Yeah.
People are talking about this imperious team. You won't get within 10 points of them. Da-da-da-da-da. Look what you can do, and they will be building them up. Never mind the extra man. They'll actually forget that. They'll squash that out of their memory, and they'll just say it'll be just constantly building them with confidence and getting them ready for the next day.
And they're Kerry. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
We are Kerry, which is exactly what they were saying. Jack O'Shea was saying during the week. We must do better. That's Jim Gavin wants major improvement. He did look pissed off afterwards, but it was hard to tell if he was pissed off at the players, pissed off at the management team, or pissed off at themselves.
I have the Sun here. And Super Saver, Jim hails Cluxton as the draw rocks for GAA. And then Keane said, not a lost chance. Probably was a little bit of a lost chance, really. If he sits down and he's being completely honest with himself, he probably says, 14 men for 40 minutes, all the goal chances, it's definitely a lost chance. But it's only a lost chance if they lose the next day.
Yeah. Any more for us?
Yeah, well, we're into The Guardian, and Pochettino saying that we are back. Tottenham manager's relief for Ericsson. So Ericsson obviously started yesterday, and I believe the European transfer window closes today. So maybe he gets a last minute. I think he's important to Spurs, but if the guy wants to go, the guy wants to go. That's the way I'd be kind of thinking about it. But a 2-2 draw yesterday, which Arsenal are obviously improving. And then in the Times, UK Times, Kane again is insisting that he doesn't dive for penalties, but he's probably the only striker who doesn't. And Konta is into the US Open last 8. And that's about